Hi. Hi.
Hi, nice to meet you. It is a pleasure to have you on the podcast. This will be a normal conversation, so you don't have to worry about anything. You are already working on your product, so it will end up being a normal Q&A, which will be driven in the way you answer the questions. It will be a natural flow, right? It will be a conversation between two friends trying to understand your product, trying to understand your innovation, and trying to find ways to collaborate with you, right? Pleasure to have you, Ragdeep. Now, giving an introduction to the audience, Ragdeep is a biomedical innovation researcher and deep tech entrepreneur working at the intersections of engineering and healthcare, associated with IIT Guwahati. His work focuses on developing advanced medical technologies aimed at improving the quality of life for patients. With a background in mechanical engineering and biomedical device research, he has been actively involved in translating academic research into practical healthcare solutions, particularly in the field of hearing restoration and implantable medical devices. So, this is where Auralytix Medtech Private Limited comes in. And I would
Yes.
like to leave the stage to Ragdeep to make us understand what this product is about. What is this innovation? Just tell us a little bit about your product and what innovation that you've done for hearing impaired.
Yes. Our product right now focuses on a very niche user group
Right,
who basically do not have any sense of hearing. They are completely deaf, right?
right,
So
right,
for these kind of patients or for these kind of users, there's something already in the market which is called cochlear implant. Now,
right.
interestingly, these implants have been there for the past 20, 25 odd years.
Hmm.
And currently, if we just look at it by numbers, around 4 to 5 crore people can benefit from these implants.
Right,
That's the major chunk of the population which can benefit.
right,
Even if we think conservatively, around 1.5 CR people can easily benefit from these implants. But
right.
till 2022, only 20 lakh implantations have been reported, 10 to 20 lakhs, not more than that.
Okay.
So there's a huge gap, you see. Now, why is there such a gap? Although the implants have been there for 20 years. Now,
Hmm.
these implants essentially they have an external component which is always supposed to be attached to the patient's skull.
Right.
So there is a microphone which will pick up the signal. Then there is the internal part which will pick up the signal and send it inside directly to the brain through the
Hmm.
auditory neurons.
Hmm.
So as most of the implantees are newborns, so
Hmm.
a lot of social stigma is attached. If you tell a mother that okay, your son or your daughter is going to have an implant for their entire life and an external component is going to stick outside, so they are always driven by this fear that how their social life is going to be.
Correct. Correct. Correct.
Correct. So when we thought of it in that way, that okay, there is a lot of social stigma with respect to this implant.
Hmm.
This is one of the reason why people are not willing to take it up, and also there is the cost factor. It is a very expensive implant.
Right.
So the tech has become so available to us right now. The technology has advanced so much in the past 20 years that we can make it completely implantable inside.
Hmm.
So that is where the idea of a totally implantable cochlear implant germinated, where we can have an implant, a sensor which can be completely inside for a total stigma-free hearing restoration. That is how Intrasonus was born, our main SKU,
Okay.
and which we are developing under our Auralytix Medtech.
Right. So, how did you get established as a business? When did that thought come? How did you first look at an innovation and then thought, okay, now this needs to be a product? Who supported you? What was that journey from going from a product to a business?
So this has been a very interesting journey because
Right.
coming from a research lab in IIT Guwahati,
Mhm.
where I never intended to join as a PhD scholar or as
Right.
a proper researcher, right?
Right.
Back when I finished my graduation, I was just preparing for gate examination, and the gate examination got over, and there is
Right.
that 3 4 months of gap where after that we go for MTech and all those things. I explored a research project here at IIT Guwahati. I came here and joined.
Hmm.
uh, By that time, I had a very different opinion about research labs. Okay, we need to publish papers, we need to get things going, and a research output is a paper.
Hmm.
But in our lab, the concept was completely different. The research output is not supposed to be a paper, it is supposed to be a product. If you cannot show a POC, if you cannot show a prototype,
Right.
there is no way of going forward in this particular lab from where
Hmm.
I am working.
Right.
So taking it into a market or taking it into a prototype stage was
Hmm.
never a problem. We
Hmm.
thought of every solution as a product,
Hmm.
not as a research paper or a research based thing that would sit in the lab. We
Hmm.
have been taught to think in that way from the beginning, when we are even
Hmm.
starting to germinate the idea. So from that stage, we have to think in from a product perspective. So I'm very grateful that I got associated to this lab, and the things started to sprout in that direction. So that has never been a problem. The difficult part is when the prototype is ready, when
Hmm.
we have a POC ready.
Hmm.
We get our POC ready at the lab stage, but what next is the big question.
Hmm.
That is where we are taking our strides for forward, and hopefully things are going to get better from an environment point of view, from a culture point of view. That gap is also taken care of automatically in the environment which we work.
Yeah, so basically, the gap for go-to market is something that you are actually looking to now look at
Yes.
and create that go-to market in a way that you can be in the context of your competitors in a
Uh,
better way. That is
hmm.
what I understand from your stage of development. So
Yes.
basically, also understanding, I heard that you've got a patent on this product as well. Is it patent pending or is it already granted?
We have one patent granted and two patents pending.
Okay. And what is the structure of your company? So
It,
who else is there as a co-founder? What is the director structure?
so basically, being a very deep tech driven company, although we were doing it at a very research level,
Hmm.
Vikram is my co-founder. He is the one who came forward after we patented our first, after we got our first patent granted. We had
Hmm.
published something on LinkedIn. He
Hmm.
came forward, wanted to understand the tech. So Vikram essentially comes from a very ENT background.
Okay.
Okay.
Very
So
specific to the industry.
yes, very specific ENT background. Although he is an engineer,
Hmm.
but his father, Dr. PG Vishwanathan,
Okay.
which is associated to Vikram ENT Hospital, has been the pioneer of cochlear implant surgeries in India. One of the first surgeons to
Right.
perform cochlear implant surgeries in
Right.
India.
Right.
So he, when he came to know that something of this caliber is being developed right in India, right in the background
Hmm.
somewhere at IIT Guwahati, so he got very much interested. He got all his connections and all his medical expertise
Hmm.
into the tech. And from there, we started Auralytix Medtech. We were very determined and very boosted by the help and the support which Vikram showed. And then we started the Auralytix Medtech, and now we are going forward with a complete product cycle development.
That is an amazing thing to know that one of the co-founders is already sold on the problem that you're solving, first of
Yes,
all. Right?
yes.
The second part is that he is becoming a part of that journey to make
Mhm,
that solution also for the problem that he's seeing. And the
mhm,
data that he's getting to understand that this is the good problem to work on is
mhm,
through a established resource where his father is one of the known ENT specialists. So
mhm.
that's an amazing way of structuring your business. So that's a very positive thing to know. So let's go forward in understanding uh, what is cochlear implants as a technology. So give us an understanding a little deeper on the technology itself. Yeah.
So, cochlear implant as a technology, we would have to look back into how our inherent hearing system works.
Mm,
So, what we inherently require is that there's a lot of frequency discrimination occurring.
mm,
We as people are, we listen to a lot of speech, we listen to music. So, we have a broad frequency band, right? From 20 hertz to around 20
right.
kilohertz.
Right.
So, between that, our brain is able to segregate those frequencies and
Hmm.
only then we can understand what the other person is saying. Otherwise, the whole sound will be like a single shot of boom, which we will listen.
Right. Right.
So when someone is unable to hear or has a sensory neural hearing loss, as we technically
Hmm.
call it,
Hmm.
so we need to activate their auditory neurons directly.
Hmm.
There's no other way. There's no bypassing.
Hmm.
Direct stimulation of the auditory neurons. Now, this has to follow that frequency discrimination. It is
Hmm.
very necessary to understand if the way we are activating the neurons is not following the frequency discrimination or the cochlear tonotopy, as we technically
Hmm.
call it, the sound perception will be very, very, very poor.
Hmm.
So essentially, initially when cochlear implants started, so there were there's still a microphone outside. It will pick up the signal, it will send it inside.
Hmm.
Then the broadband signals are broken into segmented frequency bands. And
Right.
then these frequency bands are sent to the auditory neurons to the exact location where that frequency is supposed to be encoded.
Hmm.
So essentially, the cochlea is like a shell. So
Right.
उस shell को when we open it into a straight thing, so every single point is encoded to a particular frequency. If there's a 4000 hertz frequency which is being activated here, if we try to activate it here, the response will be wrong.
Right.
So we have to
Right.
be very precise with it. So that precision has to be maintained. And that
Hmm.
number of channels is very important. The more number of channels we are able to produce, the more precision we are able to create.
Right, because there are more number of points that you can optimize for the sensory
Ah, ah,
response. So
ah.
that is where the
Although
becomes more.
huh, the brain is very
Hmm.
flexible in like segregating it and doing a
Right.
back
Packaging
processing.
it and just doing a
Uh,
back processing on it. Yeah.
uh-huh.
Okay.
But still, we need to ensure that at least minimum number of channels are required. So
Right.
even if we talk about speech perception, normal speech perception can happen at around 4 to 8 channels. But
Right.
when we talk about music perception, we need more
Right.
channels. So those things needs to be
Right.
taken care of.
So the more channels required, the more the channels you have is better for the system. But obviously, the system is operating in a legacy system of the human mind. So to
Uh,
get the load of that CPU, if you want to just call it,
uh,
you have to optimize for the minimum number of touch points that are needed to
yes.
get the maximum result also.
Yes, yes, because
The
the more number of touch points we try to create, there is also a constraint of dimension because it is hardly 3 centimeter in length, the entire cochlea,
right.
where we have to adjust around maybe 12 to 18 channels.
Hmm.
And the more channels we increase, there is also a lot of crosstalk. This channel will pick up signal from this.
Right.
But
Right.
essentially, the cochlea itself has around 30 to 40,000 neurons, right? So
Right.
our brain works in that many number of channels, but physically manufacturing something of that many channels is not possible. We try to optimize it so that we can keep it as minimum as possible and still keep the speech perception intact.
Right. So the precision of those sensory inputs is what you are working towards every time.
Yes,
Right,
yes.
right, right. Awesome, awesome. So this was me being a layman, able to understand at that level. I am also amazed by it. So that's
Okay.
the good part, that the way you've explained it was easy for me to understand. Right. Now let's move forward to understand what is the market for this. What are you looking at? What is your channel? What is your value chain look like? So when you become a product, right, what is how is your upstream value chain already sorted, or is the downstream not sorted? What is the place where you need support on?
See, the product which we are developing is different from the current cochlear implants.
Right.
In not just in terms of the external processor which we are removing,
Hmm.
but in terms of the inherent sensing, how we are doing it.
Hmm.
Uh, I always use the term that we have a biomimetic sensor.
Right.
Uh, essentially, the sensor which is currently being used for sensing will pick up all the broad spectrum of the sound and then we'll segregate it into different frequency, the frequency selectivity that happens at a digital signal processing level, right?
Hmm.
DSP level.
Hmm.
Where we differ from the current set of cochlear implants is that we have a biomimetic cantilever beam array system. So every particular cantilever beam, suppose if we want to manufacture a 12 channel system, we will have 12 different lengths of cantilevers.
Hmm.
These cantilevers are the part of the sensor, and they will pick up the sound only for that particular frequency domain for which it is tuned, for which it is
Hmm.
designed.
Hmm.
So the sensing itself is taking care of frequency discrimination. That is how natural frequency discrimination occurs. There's an organ called the basilar membrane, which itself takes care of the frequency discrimination. So our
Hmm.
sensor is taking care of the frequency discrimination without requiring any power, and it is completely internal.
Hmm.
So the value chain, when we talk about it, it is mostly dependent on where the sensor comes into the picture, right?
Hmm.
So this particular sensor can not only be used for a cochlear implant,
Hmm.
the sensor can also be used for a middle ear implant. The sensor can also be used for a completely in-ear hearing aids,
Right.
depending on how they're doing the actuation. For cochlear implant, the actuation is the auditory neurons. For a middle ear implant, the actuation is through the middle ear ossicles.
Hmm.
And for an hearing aid, it is the sound-based actuation. So this thing is very modular and can be used in an architecture where it can fit.
Hmm.
And when it comes to the market, if we just talk about the cochlear implant market,
Hmm.
as I already mentioned before, that there's a huge gap in the market, that only around 10 to 20 lakh implantations have been done globally, but
Hmm.
around 1.5 to 2 crore people can benefit from the implants.
Hmm.
If we just look at the Indian perspective,
Hmm.
it's very sad to say that around 1 to 2 in every thousand, you can say 2 in every 1,000 children born are with severe hearing loss and can benefit from a cochlear implant
Hmm.
in India alone. And these particular children, if not given a cochlear implant, they're completely cut off from the society.
Hmm.
The problem with not having a hearing is not that you don't have a hearing. The problem is you also don't have a speech.
Hmm.
So you don't have hearing, you don't have speech, you are completely isolated. So the
Hmm.
economic burden on the society is also very high. So
Right.
cochlear implant should not be an option. It should be something mandatory, I believe. But again, the economic burden and everything, the government norms
Yes,
comes
I
in.
understand the requirement in the market. So let's
Hmm.
come back to the topic that I was unable to make you understand that question. So basically what I'm looking for is your supply chain managed? Do you have any way of
Okay.
understanding how your product will be manufactured? This is a pure play
Hmm.
business question. So if you're
Yeah.
making a supply chain, is there a supply chain? And on the value chain side, on the downstream, it is not
Hmm.
about reaching the end consumer. That I've already understood. There is a need, and there is a very big need which we've understood because the device is just implanted, which makes it more easy
Hmm.
for a person to adopt if they have the understanding that this can be done. But how
Hmm.
do you reach that customer, and who, at what points in the supply chain downstream and upstream do you need support in from our side, right? So
See,
how do you want the audience to
when
read and just take a decision on, okay, I can help him out with this, I can help him out with that?
Right. So the major thing in India, because right now, because when we are talking about the production
Hmm.
point of view, right, from the manufacturing point of view, it's a very specific MEMS based fabrication process.
Hmm.
So those equipments are kind of not available readily,
Hmm.
and we are not at a stage to make such a heavy capital investment on getting our own equipment. So we are outsourcing the fabrication, which is
Right.
where very general. So
Hmm.
those fabrication parts are almost sorted. We have one or two partners who are doing some kind of fabrication for us,
Hmm.
but this is right now just at the R&D level of
Right.
fabrication. These are
Right.
R&D based labs.
Right.
But as we move forward, we need labs which are certified to manufacture medical equipments at this scale.
Right.
So
So we
that's
have
a
one referral that we can give you. So after this chat, I'll get you. So we'll connect on LinkedIn and I'll connect you with one lady I interviewed. I think a month back now, and she's into Center of Excellence for Medical Equipment. So she makes centers
That
of
will be great.
excellence across different places, and she tends to create that capability for manufacturing medical equipment, right? So I'll
Uh,
connect you with her. I think that is one way of looking at it, right? That is one way of looking at
yes,
the
yes.
problem.
Because
Yeah.
from the manufacturing side, that is the only major challenge because whatever we are
Right.
fabricating right now is
Right.
out of the R&D facilities only. But
Right.
we can survive on those on only for a short period of time. But
Correct.
when we are about to go for say animal trials, cadaveric trials, we need batch productions. So these batch productions
Right.
require certain facilities which are even IEC cleared and all those clearances will be required
So one
for
more
that.
understanding that I've had from the market, right, for private equity to move into impact startups like yours. I've understood that yes, it is you are at the testing phase, right? At the
Mm,
test phase, so you will obviously need some grants or some money to move into you so that you can go to the next phase of tests, right?
mm,
There are a number of schemes that you can also apply for. You need an advisor to just take you through, or a mentor who can take you through those processes of
yes.
how to use it, how to use that. But on top of it, if you're looking for a private equity fund to look at your product
Mm,
and take you to
mm,
market on this day, this is not that day, right? This is the day when you
yes.
prove it to them that the market has, I have built the POC, it has been tested in the labs, it is ready for the market. Now I'm ready to take on the competition because my supply chain is sorted at least, and
Mm,
I can move to the market with this product. And this is how it looks, this is how it feels, this is how it works, and you can take it front
yes.
now. Earlier, it used to be
Agree.
idea based. Now, everyone has
Huh,
luckily and happily understood that that is not the case. It should not happen that way
that.
because in the end, you're not adding value. So yes.
Mm,
So from the grants point of view or getting into an incubator or accelerator, have you ever approached an
mm.
incubator or an accelerator to look at your product and move into the lab side if there are some labs? So I have heard that universities also which are sponsoring this kind of lab support, right? They are sponsoring it as well. Sorry. Yeah. So they're
Yes,
sponsoring. Yeah.
yes, yes. So, from an incubator point of view, yes, we have approached incubators, and we are also
Mm.
like because we were only recently incorporated. So during that incorporation process, only we got incubated at a incubator at IIT Guwahati, which is based out
Amazing.
of
Yeah, which you were talking
by
about. Yes.
it's by Bionest. Bionests are very medical centric. We are
Okay.
also in talk with some hospital based incubators because that is the next big support which we are going
Right.
to
Right.
require coming up.
Right. Because
Uh,
that is the lab and that is the kind of support that you will get through that
yes,
ecosystem only. Yeah.
yes, yes. So those things are almost sorted, and considering that the school which I belong to, the SIBDS, IIBC, IIT Guwahati, the School of Biodesign in IIT Guwahati, we
Right.
have a prototyping ecosystem all
Amazing.
sorted out
Amazing.
here.
Amazing.
The only problem which I was now talking
Mm.
about is that once the prototyping stage is done,
Mm.
then we need to go to some certified fabricators who can help us with small amount of fabrication. Most of the equipments which are required for that are sorted, but the major equipment which will fabricate the sensor, see,
Right.
those equipments are only available at large fabrication facilities which manufacture piezoelectric sensor for say missiles. They
Mm.
manufacture very small scale MEM sensor that because this is nano level fabrication.
Right.
These
Right.
are high class clean room facilities and all those
Right.
things.
Right.
So those facilities neither are they readily available nor do they prefer fabricating in small amounts if they are from a commercial perspective.
Hmm.
So that's
Hmm.
simple challenge, but I think that also will get sorted in time. I believe we are still yet to explore a few more facilities and we will find the exact match where we can get it fabricated.
So
So
in one
that
of
is from.
my ecosystem, so yeah, so in one of my ecosystem guys is into fabricating his own products that he's also got patented for
Mm,
telecom. But he's getting those
okay.
fabricated in India in
Mm,
locations which are actually he's selling it to large corporates like enterprise brands like Siemens and Alcatel. So he is trying
mm,
to get the manufacturing of that product of what he's making to a level where they it is accepted in the operations of these large companies who can take the order, right? So
Okay.
he
Yes.
might have some data of people he's working
Uh,
with. I'll introduce with him.
that
Right.
that
So
will be
that is one more thing that I'll interview. So there are, and so now let's go to the downstream, right? If
yes.
so,
Uh,
how do you, so one hospital side is one way that you are looking at the upstream as well as the downstream of the value chain to be taken care of, right? So demand side and supply side both can be managed if you have a
yes. Uh,
hospital-led lab,
uh,
right?
mhm.
Where you can working out of. So how are you looking to reach the patient, right? Through hospitals or clinics, or what is the scale of that?
Uh, See, when I just talk about the Indian scenario, if I just have
Mm,
to talk from the
mm,
Indian perspective, the private market directly through hospital for these devices is less.
mm, mm.
Most of these are happening through government subsidized schemes.
Okay.
So it's mostly going to be a B2G kind of a market,
Okay.
where our direct buyers is going to be the government under the scheme. And
Mm,
once we have the product line established, there are a few private players who give it, who implant it privately. So those players are definitely going to come forward. But then there is a differentiating factor of the implant being totally internal, right?
mm,
So when it comes to a totally internal implant, there's also a high potential market outside India, because
mm,
these totally implantable market, if we just look at the big companies, the big three in cochlear implant, as we call them, Cochlear Limited, Medal, and Advanced Bionics, they control around 95% of the market.
mm.
Now, these three companies have been rapidly moving forward towards developing a totally implantable cochlear
Correct.
implant.
Correct. Okay.
They have they have their own portfolio of patents and designs in terms of these.
Mm,
And I won't say we are way ahead of them, but we are at a same level of development, and we have our own set of advantages with our biomimetic sensor.
mm,
So downstream, in maybe say 1 or 2 years of time, when we
mm,
have established or we have done our first in human trials, or say
mm.
we have done our phase 1 clinical trials, there's a high chance we will seek strategic partnership from these players, in terms of if they can come on board as strategic partners and help us with their supply chain, with international communications and all
Amazing,
those things.
amazing, amazing. So this opens up one more introduction that I can do for you. So there is
Mm.
one, do you know Health IT Lab? It operates out of IITs only. Majorly
Okay.
IIT Delhi, they do an event where they do, it's called the HIT Lab organization.
Okay. Yes.
If you look at it online, if you're interested, the founder of HIT Lab, I can introduce you to him. He is
Sure.
majorly, so these are places where serious innovation for impact in health majorly is obviously taken onto the stage, and then you have innovation wings of large organizations taken care of in the whole presentation. So these are very closed room kind of conversations, though he does chapters of events all across the world. So he might be able to get you into an ecosystem which just opens up some more dialogue about it. So as you now can see, this is a conversation we are just having like two people sitting on a table, right? So that is how I think this is the podcast to go into, right?
Mhm.
Now let's move forward and look at some more things. So you have done this product, you have got interested into it. How many years have you been working on this?
Uh, since 2018, 2019, we have been working on this.
Very
The
nice.
basic ideation was somewhere in 2018, 2019 stage.
Hmm, hmm.
And yeah, that's how we started. But in terms of being a mechanical engineer who started working on cochlear implants, that started back in 2017.
Right,
So
right.
earl- earlier we were working on a different problem related to hearing, not
Hmm.
this. But that was the basic problem from where we started, and then we came to see that this is a larger problem and we can address this.
So, what was the emotional connect to the problem? What raises your, whenever you get into the rut that scientifically it's not working today? How do I go
Hmm.
back to my connection, the connect with that product and the solution? What made you have that connect?
Initially, I was not very aware of how significant hearing loss can be, right?
Right,
Means as per damage to
right.
someone. But when I started working on this problem, that was kind of eye opening. But there's one particular saying from Helen Keller which keeps me going, right?
Right.
uh, she says that blindness cuts you off from things,
Hmm.
but deafness cuts you off from people.
Okay.
So it's a very strong saying that
It
blind,
is a
because
very,
she is
yeah,
someone who is blind and deaf, and this
right.
coming from her. So this is one proverb which always keeps me going.
Right, 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 right. And that's the connect that builds your resilience, right?
Yes.
If in a situation, so I'll give you a situation where one of your competitors who is into the same product, right? And he comes in and he says that your product is amazing. I would like to acquire your product. What will be your say in it? What will your first opinion will be? What will you do about that conversation? A difficult
I'll
question, just
see.
for the sake of
No,
understanding how you take your product, nothing else to
not
it.
a difficult
Yes.
question at all. Not a difficult question at all.
Yes.
I would say I'll go forward with the partnership. I will definitely go forward with the
Right.
partnership,
Right.
but I would definitely have a few licensing clause,
Yes.
right? So
Yes.
these particular licensing clause will be definitely related to the cost control in terms of the lower income countries.
Hmm.
Uh, Rest is completely up to them, because these big players, although we look at them as a competition, but they are
Hmm.
very necessary for taking techs like ours, which are coming from a very fringe part, like IIT Guwahati or in India, because they have an ecosystem, they have a big ecosystem ready to
Hmm.
take this thing. So
Hmm.
if this device owing to them can come into the market, maybe say 3 or 4 years prior to what I am trying to do
Hmm.
it. So that is a big thing for me,
Hmm.
right? But I will definitely have those licensing clause in terms of price control, in terms of the lower income countries. But I'm more than happy if some big player comes in.
So when you are saying that this patent is it a global patent?
We are doing a PCD right now for the granted patent.
Okay. 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 Amazing. Amazing.
And the new patents, which we started after or Auralytix were incorporated, those are like we are filing in them globally. So that's the
Amazing.
thing.
Amazing. Amazing. Looking at your roadmap, you're like right now looking at partners who can take you to the next level of testing. You are looking
Yes.
for a product to become ready for the market. You are looking at creating an opportunity for discovery by the right ecosystem while you're building your product and getting it tested. So anything from the health IT side or from the hospital side, from the legacy medical side, you are looking for someone who can hop in and become a partner at an earlier stage and create your movement towards something which is very, very valuable, right? So give us something. What is your roadmap for the next 1 year? So, what do you want to achieve in the testing part? So, after animal testing, is that the end of all testing, or will you then go to the human side and then you will start that level also as well? Right.
Yes. Definitely. See, right now we are at a stage where we are integrating to build a whole prototype, because we have three different components, all of them tested independently.
Hmm.
So we are now bringing them together to have an integrated prototype, and that will go into animal trials and cadaveric trials
Right.
parallelly.
Right.
So post that, the intention is we are directly going from for the CDSCO clearance and all those things for patient
Hmm.
trials.
Hmm.
And first in human trials, we are targeting by the end of 2029, by the starting of 2029, by the end of 2028, 2029, we want to have a first in human trials done.
So, what is the critical mass of that research that tells you that this research is conclusive in this kind of a product?
In this kind of a product. So if strictly speaking from a technical point of view, right?
Hmm.
It is the bearer response which we get from the patients, or the ABR response, as we call it.
Hmm.
So even for animal trials, we need to have some kind of ABR response protocols, because
Hmm.
these implants have means these are not common implants, and these protocols are not readily available
Right.
as per Indian scenarios also.
Right.
First we have to establish those protocols. We have to take in some standard protocols which were available internationally. We have to establish them and then go for animal trials. In terms of patient, also the ABR response is the final check that this implant is working.
Hmm. 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 So, looking at your team is right now, you both are co-founders, and then there is the support of the labs, right? This is the structure of the product right now.
Yes, we have audiologists in our team. We have
Right.
specific people working on electronics components.
They are right
So
directly on your role, or are they project basis whenever they are needed
uh,
to the
two of
lab?
those people are directly on the role. Rest of the people are mostly like consultants, advisors, and
Right.
on those ones.
So, at this level, what are the major operational expenses that you have?
It's mostly the fabrication cost which we are facing
Right.
and the human resource cost. So these
Right.
two things are the major thing. Rest,
And
I think, will come as we increase the fabrication to basically not increase the fabrication, but like miniaturize the design. So
yeah.
those challenges will be there.
Right. So, how are you getting that money to run those operational expenses? How are you generating that money?
Uh, we have some small grants from NEC Ignite. Like
Mm.
as I mentioned, we got incubated back in
Right.
September last year.
Right. Right.
And also, we are currently bootstrapped. So we've put in some funds. Vikram puts in some funds from his own end to the
Mm.
company.
So he's like your investor slash co-founder in the
Yes,
place
yes.
where there is a number of interested parties also looking at his product that
Uh,
he's building. So that becomes the future of, there is a way of creating that investment round for you as well. So what is
yes.
the round? What is the roadmap for? So how much of cash do you have right now? To till what time is it available? Have you done some analysis of that? How
Yes.
quickly do you
So
need the next round
on
of
the basis of
money?
uh, so our current runway is not is around maybe say 6 months to one years. We can take care of the development.
Hmm.
But at current runway, our speed is going to be less because we need a lot of human resource going forward. Maybe in the next 2 or 3 months, once the integrated prototype is ready. So we are also trying to raise something. We are in talk with a few investors. So our currently we are trying to raise in the course of around 4 to 5 CR, which is going to get us well clear for the next 18 months.
Okay.
So
Okay.
and also be ready for the animal trials within that budget.
So what are these type of investors that you're reaching out to? So are these institutional investors? Are they HNIs? Who are they? Just give us an understanding.
Mostly a few HNIs, mostly a few HNIs who have been interested in medtech domain.
Mm.
Some of them are from medical background, fortunately. So
Mm.
they are also looking if they can invest in some terms, not just in terms of help, but also in terms of cash, if they can
Mm.
help. So
Mm.
those investors are also there. Institutional investors also we have reached out to a few, but most of them are like we are too early. They
Early
would
in
be
the,
looking
yes.
to
Right.
help in the next stage. So they are still in connect with us. Almost every institutional
Right.
investor came up with the same thing that okay, we really want to invest, but you need to find someone as a first base investor. Then at the next round, we'll be more than happy to invest.
So what were the challenges in building this product? So you are two co-founders. There might be some
Hmm.
challenges of finding the co-founder. There might be challenges of finding the product, the right problem, the right. So what are those challenges, and what did you face till the time that you've reached this moment of in the last 5 years, right?
So fortunately, finding the co-founder was not a difficult thing for
Right.
me. It happened very naturally. As I mentioned you, he pinged us on LinkedIn, and he comes from a very indie background, so that becomes a good thing for us.
Mm.
Uh, but the major challenges which have only recently come uh, is basically explaining to someone why we are developing a class C, class D device in an ecosystem,
Mm.
uh, which does not support a lot of gestation period.
Mm. Hmm.
So a class C, class D device, and it failing at the last stage, right? I'll be honest with you that most of the class C, class D device, there's a huge chance that they fail at the last stage when we go for phase one clinical trials or
Right.
something like that,
Right.
right? So, we it's very difficult to find the right kind of an investor who is ready to take that amount of risk
Hmm.
for such a long period of time, right? Because these kind of a device also go through a lot of iterative design cycles.
Yeah, because there is
It-
a connection to
uh,
a human health problem, which might
hmm,
be an internal surgery way of
uh,
executing it. So,
yes.
yeah, yeah.
So on only recently I was talking to someone in the biomedical domain who knows a little bit about CDSCO clearances and all that. So
Hmm.
they said that in the last 5 to 10 years, only like 20 or 30 Class C, Class D devices have come for approval.
Hmm.
So that's the major challenge in the ecosystem, right? So people are not willing to develop these, not because they don't have the technology, because they know that the challenge is very, very, very high. And the chances of failure is also very, very, very high.
Right.
So, see, these technologies have been there. We are based out of a piezoelectric sensor perspective, right? So
Right.
these technologies are there, but getting them into a medical stream, getting them into an implant, so
Hmm.
that becomes the major challenge.
Right, because obviously there has to be a learning curve for everyone in the ecosystem to understand if they are using this, how are they doing the surgery, how are they putting it into the place. So till that point as well, right?
Uh,
So you have to
so,
get support from that.
huh, even convincing the surgeons
Hmm.
sometimes is difficult, right? But
Hmm.
we have surgeons who have been supporting us for the last 5 years
Right.
due to the entire journey. In every step of the design, in every iteration of the design, we have to go back to the operation theater and ask them whether it is good enough for this kind of a process.
Hmm.
So those things have been there. But again, as I said, that not everyone is willing to invest their time,
Correct.
efforts in a device which is going to take such a long period to come into the market, or if even give a return on their investment.
Hmm.
So that has been a challenge. But I believe there will be a time when if even basic science-based projects will come out of a lab in India and convert into a product.
Hmm. Hmm. And definitely to do that, you need critical speed. So that is another thing that you need to
Speed,
move to the
speed
point
is
where it.
speed is the thing.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
main challenge for you is speed, and for speed, you need the right kind of partners who can just usher you into the right direction. And
Uh,
See, I can give you four introductions. There's no question asked. There is nothing like that. It's just I'm making a group of friends for me, so there's no point in that. Apart from that, obviously, I'll open the door, but you have to walk through it. Once you are ready with your test labs, results, and all those things, if so, I also, as a individual, look at such technologies, but I am not a big HNI, if you want to say that. I don't have big checks, but I still have some amount of checks which have been able to close your cap table once you reach that cap table level, right? So this technology is very important if it stays as a product, right? That is also a challenge that is there, where you might just get taken over by a large organization and you become a part of their research lab,
yes.
right?
Uh,
So if that happens, that's the kind of one example of a
that
view that I
that
had, right? In that way, then obviously this conversation goes nowhere, but in the end, the product is good, the solution is amazing, and what you need right now is speed. And uh, Apart from that, everything else is to watch. And I would love to introduce you to some people, right? So give us an understanding of resilience. So last question, to keep the conversation light and cool for the people who are watching also from the startup side. uh, what is resilience for you? How have you dealt with resilience? What were those moments that can define that resilience was a challenge and I just went through it?
See, for me, uh, if the vision is clear, right?
Right.
If you know what
Right.
output do you want,
Right.
so resilience will never come into question,
Right.
right? It is all about, sometimes you have to slow down, sometimes you have to speed up.
Right.
But resilience will come into question when you stop the car.
Right.
It's like, but if you have your vision clear, you will never stop your car. You
Hmm.
might slow down sometimes due to XYZ reasons. But
Right.
if you're not stopping your car,
Hmm.
I think you're just going forward towards your destination,
Hmm.
irrespective of what is going on around you. So that is what resilience for me is. Just moving
Amazing.
forward, even if it's slow,
So
even if
yeah,
it's one.
so take a road, take a road. Taking the road is the only step you need. Everything else
uh,
just has to fall in place. And if you keep on walking on that road, it's fine. It's good.
just take
Easy.
one step at a time. Just keep taking those steps. You just don't have to fall down. That's the on only thing.
Correct. 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 Amazing. Amazing, Ragdeep. It was a pleasure talking to you. I'll connect with you offline, and we'll have that further
Definitely.
conversation, and we'll close it in the next 2 to 3 days, whatever introductions I
Sure.
have. Pleasure to
Thank
have you
you.
on the podcast. Pleasure.
Thank you so much, Arjun. Thank you.
You've been listening to Impact Tech Studio podcast. Raagdeep's journey shows how medtech research can evolve into real solutions that change lives. From research labs in IIT Guwahati and building advanced hearing restoration technology, Auralytix Medtech is working towards a future where hearing loss no longer isolates people from society. If you enjoyed this conversation, subscribe on Spotify and YouTube, share it with your network, and stay tuned for more founders building meaningful impact. Until next time, keep building with purpose.